Good day, Ma'am Palyado. We are Group 13. Your student, Julie De Castro, Mark Dilvin, Armenia, JRP, Baril, Riniel Crisan from 3C. And now, we would like to propose our research title, The Dilemma of Being Labeled Criminal According to the Labeling Theory. Introduction. This qualitative study explored the dilemma faced by individuals labeled as criminals, focusing on the social, psychological, and behavioral impact from the perspective of labeling theory. Labeling theory explains how societal reaction and the assignment of deviant labels can alter a person's self-identity, limit opportunities, and foster long-term stigma that affect reintegration into society. IALA 2020, the research seek to understand how criminal labeling influence life chance, family relationships, and access to education and employment. It highlights the profound challenges labeled individuals face in rebuilding their social identity, emphasizing the importance of exploring their life experience. Recent studies demonstrate the stigma leads to exclusion, social rejection, and psychological struggles, which collectively raise the risk of recidivism. Bridgewater University 2020, APRA Journals 2024, by focusing on Filipino communities. This study aims to provide a culturally relevant understanding of the consequence of criminal labeling and shed light on processes that impede successful reintegration. Briefly, the introduction discuss how individuals labeled as criminals experience deep social, psychological, and behavioral challenges. Using labeling theory, it explains that negative labels affect a person's self-identity, limit access to education and important employment, and create long-term stigma that makes reintegration into society difficult. Research shows that stigma leads to exclusion, rejection, and increased chance of reoffending. Recent global and local research affirms labeling theory's role in criminal justice reform and social reintegration by emphasizing stigma persistent impact on behavior and social identity. For example, YALA 2017 found that in reintegrated offenders experience consistent psychological and social impact due to labeling. Regardless of demographic difference, Penkehan and Carpio 2024 highlight how labels shape juvenile delinquency by influencing adolescent social experience and aspiration. Then, the Bridgewater University 2020 study uncovered common patterns among transition program residents, showing how criminal labeling create barriers to effective community reentry. Similarly, then Koenigs and Hiller Chair 2025 revealed that stigmatizing language used of criminal justice settings reinforce negative public perceptions and prolong social exclusion of formerly incarcerated individuals. In addition, Luna and Smith 2023 demonstrate through a multi-country analysis that criminal labeling negatively affect employment opportunities, self-identity, and reintegration outcomes across different cultural contexts. This body of research demonstrate the labeling not only foster exclusion but also contribute to the internalization of deviant identities which can hinder resistance efforts. IALA 2017, APRA Journals 2024, Pinkian and Carpio 2024. Although recent studies have explored how stigma affect ex-convict and offenders in the Philippines. Much research still emphasize general patterns of recidivism, quantitative crimes statistic, and formal justice process instead of everyday experience of those who are labeled criminals. This study aims to explore the social, psychological, and behavioral impact of criminal labeling among Cantilan ex-offender through a qualitative approach grounded in labeling theory. Specifically, it investigates how being labeled criminal influences individuals' self-identity, access to opportunity such as education and employment, and their experience of stigma and social exclusion. The study seeks to understand how labeling affect their integration into their families and communities. And we have seven authors. Number one is Iala 2017. Number two is Pinkehan 2024. Number three, Carpio 2024. Konex 2025. Hilar Kerr 2025. Lona 2023 and Smith 2023.
Theoretical framework. This study will utilize three theories. The main theory is labeling theory. Baker 1963, social stigma theory. Goffman 1963, and social bound theory. Hershey 1969. The main theory occurring this study is labeling theory. This sociological theory posits that deviance and criminality are not inherent to an act, but are the result of societal reaction and the labels assigned to individuals. Baker, 1963, once labeled as a criminal, individuals may internalize this identity, which can influence their self-concept and possibly lead to continued deviance due to stig- stigmatization and exclusion. In the context of study, labeling theory will be used to examine how to criminal label affect the identities, behaviors, and social opportunities of Filipino ex-offenders as they attempt to reintegrate into their communities. Supporting this is social stigma theory, primarily primarily developed by Irving Goffman 1963. This theory explains how those labeled as deviant suffer social disapproval and discrimination, which can severely limit their acceptance acceptance within society and harm their psychological well-being. The theory is highly relevant to this study as it focuses on the social and emotional consequences of being labeled a criminal, adding insight into how stigma operates in every interpersonal interaction and community relationship in the Philippines context. Lastly, lastly, Social Bound Theory by Travis Hershey, 1969, assert that strong social bonds to family, community, and institution deter individuals from engaging in the deviant behavior. And, labeling and the resulting stigma can weaken these bonds, leading to further alienation and increased risk for continued offending. This theory will inform the study exploration of how labeling disrupts social relationship, undermines support system, and affects how affect the ability of ex-offenders to regret to rein- reintegrate successfully. Next, is- statement of the problem.
Statement of the problem. Number one is, what is the demographic profile of the respondent in terms of age, gender, educational level, socio-economic status, family background. Age is 18 above, those offenders who commit crimes. Gender, if he or she, male or female, education level, elementary stand or high school stand or college stand. Socio-economic status, those income or high income or mid income. Family background, single parent or and occupation.
For the significance of the study, our research is important because it provides valuable insights for different groups affected by criminal labeling. First, for ex-offenders, the study helps them understand how being labeled as a criminal affects their self-confidence, opportunities, and their reintegration into society. By sharing their experiences, the research hopes to empower them and help them deal with stigma. Second, the findings also benefit the families of ex-offenders. The study helps them recognize the emotional and social challenges their loved ones go through. With this awareness, families may become more supportive and understanding. Third, this study is useful for criminology students. It gives them real-life examples of how labeling theory works, allowing them to better connect classroom concepts to real-world situations. Fourth, for law enforcement and criminal justice practitioners, this research highlights how labeling and stigma can create unintended consequences. With this knowledge, practitioners can improve their approaches and promote fairer and more evidence-based practices. Fifth, the study also supports policymakers by presenting the actual effects of labeling. Our better rehabilitations programs and reintegration policies to reduce recidivism. Lastly, future researchers will also benefit because this study adds to existing literature on criminal labeling and stigma. It can serve as a guide for future studies, especially those using qualitative or narrative methods. That's all, man.